Many people believe that they are safe on the internet. This, however, is not true. Nobody is safe on the internet. Many people also believe that if you switch to the Mac operating system, you will be safe. That is not true. The only reason that there aren't as many exploits or viruses written for the Mac operating system is because not many people use it. A lot more people prefer Windows. The exploit I will be showing you today is for a Windows computer that uses Internet Explorer. The Internet Explorer version does not include the latest update which fixes this exploit, and that does not mean that just because you update your computer you are safe. It just so happens that this certain exploit is patched. There are many others that have been written already. We will also be using the security auditor's operating system of Backtrack 3. Now, let's begin.
Alright, so we're going to go ahead and boot up into Backtrack. And Backtrack is an operating system based off of Slacks, which is a type of Linux distribution. Backtrack comes pre-installed with tools to test security flaws or to exploit a network or a group of computers. You can download the image for Backtrack at remote-exploits.org and burn it onto a CD or install it onto a flash drive to boot from. Now, the exploit we're going to be using is for Internet Explorer, and the way that it works is you create a web server using this exploit and have the victim connect to it. And rather than try to convince the user to click on a link to connect to our web server, which could take who knows how long, we're just going to go ahead and spoof some DNS replies or DNS queries of the victim so that it automatically connects to our server no matter what. Now, DNS is a domain name service. What that means is that rather than remembering the huge IP address for google.com, you just type in google.com and the computer translates it into the IP address. So the first thing we're going to need to do is we're going to open up a shell, which is just a command prompt, and type in ifconfig, which will tell us the IP address for this computer, which happens to be 192.168.118.129. And then we're going to edit the configuration file for a plugin for Ettercap. Ettercap is a neat little tool that allows you to change or just view data transfer between computers. We're going to change the plugin to set it so that no matter what the victim queries, whether it be Facebook, Google, MySpace, anything, it will always give it the IP address of our web server. Now we'll just save the changes to the configuration file. Now we're going to type in the command for Ettercap, which is ettercap space -t, which tells Ettercap to run in text mode, space -q, which tells it to run silently, space -m, space ARP::remote, remote, which tells it to perform a man-in-the-middle attack, which means that rather than having the victim data transfer go from the victim to the server, it goes from the victim to our computer, then to the server, so that way we can change it. Space -p for plugin, space DNS_spoof to spoof the DNS queries, space / for the target. And if you were just going to do one computer, you would type in the IP address for it, but since there's only 2 computers on this network, I'm going to leave it empty, so that way it does all computers on the network. Now what I'm doing is I am updating the database for a neat little program called Metasploit. Metasploit is a program that has a database full of popular exploits and a nice graphical or text-based interface for you to run those exploits. And what we're going to be using is the graphical user interface. Now, the GUI, as it's also pronounced, graphical user interface, which basically just means that instead of having to type in the commands, I can use my mouse to point and click and change the options. So we're going to start up Metasploit. And we're going to browse through the exploits. Now we're going to go through exploits, and we're going to scroll down and find the Windows subfolder, and then go to the subfolder browser, because we're doing the attack on Internet Explorer, which is a browser. And we're going to search for the MS00902 memory corruption exploit. And we're going to start it up, and we're going to set, we don't have to set the target. Some exploits require you to, because there's only one target for this exploit. We're going to hit forward, and we're going to select the payload. Now the payload, what that is once you have exploited the computer, what do you want to do? We're going to upload a tool called Merterpreter, which helps you automate exploitation, or the what you want to do after the exploitation, to help make sure that you keep control of this computer. And we're going to set it to reverse TCP, so that way it connects back to us. And of course, I changed the server port to 80 because that is the port that data transfer for web traffic goes through. We're going to run ettercap, and it'll scan the subnet for all the hosts alive and set them into the two groups that we are going to be poisoning and spoofing. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the Windows user. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and log in as victim in the Windows computer. And one way to stop this exploit and to help increase your security whenever you're browsing the internet is to switch to Mozilla Firefox, which is an open source free browser that is definitely more secure than Internet Explorer. I would recommend it to everyone I know. Now, I have installed on this computer AVG, which is an antivirus software, just to show you that even with antivirus software running, you are still going to be hit by this exploit if you do not have it patched. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and start up AVG, and we see that all of its components are running, and we're going to go ahead and check to see if there's any updates. And as you can see, there are no updates. And just to show you, this is running Windows XP Professional, and it has Service Pack 3 installed on it. So this isn't an old computer at all. And as I said before, there's only one security update missing. So we're going to go ahead and run Windows Update, and I will show you that only one is missing, and I'm not just making this all up. So we're going to go ahead and let it connect. And I'm going to select the custom update, so that way I will show you that it's just one and only one update that's missing, which is also the most recent update for Internet Explorer as of making of this video. So we're going to click custom and let Microsoft scan our computer to see what all the security updates are missing. And of course there's only one missing, which is the cumulative update for Internet Explorer 7. Now then, as of now, the hacker or the attacker has already started spoofing DNS queries. So we're going to go ahead and try to open up Internet Explorer. And it just looks like nothing happened. The only suspicious thing I see is that on the tab it has a whole bunch of very funky looking letters, and now it looks like Internet Explorer has just stopped running, or your computer is frozen. As a normal user, I wouldn't think much of this at all. It's just, oh no, something's messed up. It's quite common for many processes or programs in Windows to suddenly stop working. So I'm just gonna close it, and we're gonna take a look at the attacker's box. Now, of course, over here the scene is a lot different. We will see in the ettercap output that we have spoofed a DNS query and sent it to our computer. And we're also going to check the output for Metasploit. Now, being of course a normal end user, if I suddenly saw that Internet Explorer stopped working, I'm just gonna assume that, oh no, it happened again. Let me start it back up. And it's gonna run a couple more times, and now that we see that it's the exploit completed successfully, and we now have a session opened up, as you can see in the bottom right text box of Metasploit. We're going to open it up and type in ipconfig, and we'll see that the IP address has changed from, and it now reads 192.168.118.128, which is the IP address of the victim computer. We now have complete control of this computer, and we can do whatever we want. Install keyloggers, viruses, whatever.